Hello and welcome back. In our previous video, we successfully configured various multi-states. Now, let's focus on how to configure interactions between components on our dashboard. The aim for our dashboard is the following. When you click on a pump in the overview table, all other components should update to display specific details of that selected pump based on their training. Before setting up the interaction, it's practical to rename our target components for easier identification. We can do this in the variable section. For example, let's name the gauge horsepower. The bar temperature. The value maintenance. The table details. And the line chart efficiency. Now, to configure the interaction, we need to define 4 key elements. First of all, like for the multi-states, we need a trigger event. This is what starts the interaction. In our scenario, it's a user clicking on a row in the table. Second, the producer component property. This is the specific data that the source component sends out when the interaction is triggered. Like in our case, the data will be which pump of the overview table was selected. Third, consumer component. These are the components on the dashboard that will receive the information. For instance, this could be the gauge designed to display data about the selected pump. And lastly, function. Function defines what the consumer component will do with the information received from the producer component. In our case, the gauge will set the received pump as its channel, so it will display the pump's horsepower. Great. Now let's define the interaction between the overview table and the gauge component. First, we select our trigger in the action section. As it will be a single click on the table, we need the On Change button. In the pop-up window, switch to the Interaction tab and add an interaction entry. Now, we need to define the remaining 3 parts of the interaction. Here, in the first column, we select the producer component property. In our case, selected, which means the selected pump of the overview table. Then, choose the gauge as the consumer component. Finally, we'll choose the function set channels, which means that the gauge component will set the selected pump as its channel. Click on Build to finalize the setup. But before we see the changes in action, let's save our progress and lock the screen. Now, clicking on a pump in the table will update the gauge, displaying the horsepower of the selected pump. Let's do the same for all the other target components. Fantastic! Our dashboard construction is now complete. It's packed with dynamic features like multi-states and component interactions. However, there's ample scope for further enhancements. Consider adding a navigation button that links to another view, offering deeper insights. Or, you might introduce a drop-down UI element that allows users to seamlessly switch between pumps at Station 1 and Station 2. These additions can significantly elevate the user experience and functionality of your dashboard. Thanks for watching, and I will be waiting for you in the next video.